Warren Rusche, SDSU Extension Beef Feedlot Management Associate. Well, some of the things we're working on is we're doing some work on, right now we're doing work on some feed additives, that the idea of using those as methods to reduce salmonella risk in cattle feeding. That's going to become, from a food safety standpoint, that's really the next big thing in terms of what the beef industry is going to be looking at. So that's an area of work we've been partnering with some of our allied industry partners to examine that. Some of the other things we're looking at too, though, are how do we optimize a systems approach of optimizing cattle feeding as part of a larger picture, as part of the farming operation. So we're doing some work on optimizing the use of roughage and silage and feeding diets. How much should we feed and at what times? Does it make a difference if we feed a moderate amount of silage through the whole feeding, or should we feed increased amounts early followed by smaller amounts late? We've done some work on evaluating different feedstuffs that farmers might be interested in trying, such as hybrid rye. And finally, we're also looking at things that some of the tools in the toolbox that cattle feeders here in the Northern Plains might be taking a look at. Things like how do we optimize bedding use, growth technology tools such as implants and so forth, all with the idea of what can we do from a research standpoint to provide new information for our cattle feeders to help them become more profitable, more sustainable, and be able to, so their businesses can thrive and survive in the long term. I think I've always had a real deep interest in the in the livestock industry and cattle business in particular. For me, this was kind of that a real logical place for me to go. What I like about working with Extension is it's varied. It's variety. Get to work with some really great people, some really great livestock, and I just have that the opportunity to help someone solve a problem in a way that's going to will have some impact on their bottom line and their family and their operation. Those are the really great days for me, and this job really lets me do that in a consistent manner. And it's every day is different, and most every day is fun. Well, I think one of the things that we've been looking at that was part of some of my research, and then also some of the other graduate students up at Brookings, have been examining how do we best use corn silage in finishing diets. The conventional wisdom has been, well, you feed as little as you possibly can, just enough to make sure you keep the rumen healthy, but to maximize the amount of corn and higher energy byproducts in order to maximize daily gains. Some of the work we've done would say that if we're measuring efficiency on a whole farm standpoint, we may be able to feed more silage if we're measuring efficiency as beef produced per acre. Where I think that could really be important is this year, as we look at 2021 and the environmental conditions we're dealing with, where almost every part of the state is in some form of drought right now anyway, at least in late June 2021. We may be forced to harvest a lot more corn and silage simply because growing conditions aren't going to allow it to produce a profitable dry grain crop. And in those conditions, the best way for us to turn that feedstuff, that crop, into cash is to market that through cattle or other ruminants. So we think that some of the work we've done on different silage feeding levels could be really important this next fall as people start looking at how do I take the lemons that 2021 gave us and turn them into lemonade.